Hello and welcome all. So in today's lecture, which will be the part 3 of my SQL playlist for this channel, I'll be taking alter database in Microsoft SQL Server. So what we learn today is how do we alter a database on a SQL Server, alter database logical and physical names. We'll cover them in a bit, and then moving database physical files to new locations. Now in Microsoft SQL, we can use either all capital or mixed casing for keywords like create, we have seen create database, or alter, or select from where. So it could be all capital letters, which is basically what Microsoft documentation uses. But on the other hand, we can use mixed casings. Like, C could be capital with REATE, could be all small casing or lower casing. And also the second thing is that SQL statements can be terminated by a semicolon, or you could altogether drop the semicolon. So SQL statements are very forgiving from that point of view. Now coming to the point of renaming a database. So there are three ways that we could rename databases, and let us switch over to SQL Server Management Studio. So the first way is to rename it manually, like I'll be working on MyDB. So, and MyDB2 that I have created last time. So let's start with MyDB2 and let's rename it to say MyDB1. Okay, MyDB1, and that is manually or graphically you can say MyDB1. Straight away you could say that it has changed without refreshing the database node. All right, and another is to use the query, SQL querying. So what we'll do that, either write use, like let me use all upper casing, but you could write like this, mixed casing, like use master. All right, so either way will be fine for learning and running the queries. So use master, and then I've got this database MyDB1, which I would like to modify to MyDB2. So alter database, and what is the database? That is MyDB1. Now there's another trick I will tell you, that you can just drag it rather than writing it, MyDB1. So MyDB1 will be enclosed within angular brackets, and that's fine. So you can drag and drop also. So alter database MyDB1. Now next is modify name. So all these are keywords, whatever is coming in blue. Okay, royal blue, these are all keywords, right? Modify name, alter database. So modify name equals, so let me give it a new name, MyDB2. All right, and then let me run the query by highlighting this. So the database name MyDB2 has been set. So how do we see it? By refreshing, right clicking and click on refresh. So this will be MyDB2. All right, and the third method is by using a system stored procedure. I'll come to the system stored procedure in some other lecture, but it will be sufficient to tell you that stored procedures are just like functions or methods in C#. Now that is, these stored procedures are a bunch of commands that are stored in a, you can say, function with a name, like let me show you. So I have expanded the MyDB database, and here within this programmability node, if you expand this further, you come up with stored procedures. At the moment you have got several system stored procedures that is created by default. All right, so we'll be using sp rename db. So sp rename db. So our database was my DB2, I will like to change it, revert it back to my DB1. So how do I write it? You can see if you mouse over, okay, SP rename DB, that is telling me that it is wrong. SP rename DB, SP, you can find it out from here also. So I have to browse through the entire system stored procedure, and I have finally found this one, sys.sp rename DB. Okay. So if you execute it by an execute exec command, that is executing the stored procedure, okay, then it says that, okay, it expects the parameter, right? So I'll have to write the parameters. Now, what are the parameters? Execute sys.sp rename DB. It is expecting two parameters, DB name, so the existing name, and the name is my DB1 or my DB2, because I have changed the name, my DB2, the existing one. And now let me run this stored procedure. So the database name, my DB1, has been set. Now if you click onto this node again and refresh, you need to actually click the database node and click on refresh to reflect the changes. Now it has changed to my DB1, right? Next we'll see what is a logical database and physical database. All right. So SQL Server database files have two different names. One is the logical file name and a physical file name. So in the last lecture, I have shown when you create a database, it has got a master data file, MDF file, and an LDF file automatically generated. So this logical file name is the name used to refer to the physical file in all SQL statement, or which is known as also Transact-SQL statement or T-SQL statement. And as opposed to it, physical file name is the name of the physical file, including the directory path. So I'll have to run a query and I can see both the files as follows. Okay. So I will run this query, select name as logical name, physical name as current location from mydb.sys.database files, where mydb is the database name. Okay. Let me run this. So you got this logical name and the current location, which is actually the physical name. So remember the logical name was mydb for the data file and mydb_log for the log file, and their current location are these. You can just check, verify on your computers when you run on your machines. So this is the location. It's already set when you actually install this SQL Server, but you can always change this current location. Okay. Now next I will change the logical database name. So I will issue this command, which I have put on my notepad, and I will just to save time, I will copy and then explain, and first running the command. So alter database mydb, because I am working on mydb, modify file name mydb, which is this one, logical name, to new name. All right. And then another command to modify the log file also. So which is this one. So I will run these two commands by highlighting them, clicking on execute. So the file name mydb data has been set and file name mydb logs has been set. Now again, I will just verify by running this command. Okay. So you will find that the logical names would have changed. So it has already changed. You can still see that the physical file names are the same, whereas the logical file names have changed. Next, I will show you the process of changing the physical file names also. Now, if we want to rename any physical file, it is not possible to do so when the database is in use. So we have to take the database offline. So we have to actually make it that it is, it is not being used. So we have to take it offline, means it is not in use. So how do you do that? Before doing that, we can actually, I'll have to say another few words, like in production, due to open connection to the databases, as it could be used by more than one developer, it is in the multi-user mode. Okay. And we are not able to take it offline. So we issue a command to bring it to the single user mode, like what I am doing at my development machine in my home. I'm in the single user mode, but I wanted to show you what is a multi-user mode and also how you have to bring it in the single user mode if you're working in production, and to roll back any active transactions so that it could be taken offline right after. Okay. So this is the bunch of command that will set it to the single user mode with rollback immediate. Now this is a new term. The rollback immediate, what it does is that it rollbacks any active transaction to its previous state and immediately it rolls back, and then this command sets the database offline. So if you run this bunch of queries, click on execute, commands completed successfully. And then again you have to verify by running this. Now if you run this bunch of command again, so it comes up with this statement with this error that MyDB cannot be opened because it is offline, which is fair enough because the database is offline, so it cannot be opened. Now next we will go for modifying the physical file names, which is through this command. Now this will change the system catalog with the new location, new physical file name, which is at a different location. I'm sorry, this is at the same location but with a different file name. It was earlier MyDB, now it is MyDB_data.mdf. So before I can run this query, I have to physically move this file to this physically rename this file to MyDB_data.mdf. So I will go back to my original location. So this was my location where this all these physical files, log file and data files were produced by default. So I have now renamed it. That's a must. Now if I run this command again, now if I am able to run this command, execute, it says incorrect syntax. That is another thing. So I think you need to correct this part. It doesn't require any single quotes, and this one. Okay, so now the squiggly lines are gone. It is still showing this. Okay, now I have run this query and it has come up with this message: the file MyDB_data has been modified in the system catalog. The new path will be used the next time the database is started. Okay, because I have set it offline, so it has to be taken online. You can see here that MyDB is showing offline. So now I will have to bring it online and set it to multi-user. Okay, so for that I have copied on my clipboard and I will just paste it to save time. Copy and then paste. Okay, so this will set it to online. Command completed successfully, and I can set it to multi-user if you want it. Okay, assuming that I am working in a production environment. Now I again confirm by running the same query to see what are the logical name and physical name. Now you can see that the physical name has indeed changed to MyDB_data, the data file, and the log file MyDB_log. And I have only changed the name of the data file, not the log file. So log file was earlier mydb_log, which it continues to be. Lastly, I will show how to move physical files to another location. Because sometimes you can see in a production scenario that it becomes necessary to relocate the physical files that comprise a SQL Server database. The recommended approach to moving the location of database files is using alter database commands. Okay, so at the moment, this is my current location for the database files, G-SQL Enterprise Service Pack and blah blah blah. That was default, and I would like to shift it to some other location. Now, the procedure is to again take the database offline by setting this alter database statement. So this time let me write alter database. So I'm intentionally writing all capital just to show you that it doesn't make any difference. So alter database mydb, or I can just drag as I told you. So alter database mydb, set offline, set offline, and run this command. Command completed successfully, and then I'll have to make a modify file name and locate to the new location. Okay, but before that, as we did with the physical file names, we are now moving the location. So I'll have to move physically to the new location. Let me say there's a new location that I have got. That is this location, G, SQL and DB files. It needs to be already in existence. Like, in my case, let me show you. This is the location. So G SQL 26, SQL 2016 DB files. Okay, at the moment it is empty. Now I will just physically shift the file from my earlier location to this location. Okay, so where was my file earlier? It was here. So I will just physically shift before running the alter database command. So here, now administrative privilege I have to give, and then for both of them, one by one, they get copied to the new location. They have moved basically. Okay, now I'll have to run the appropriate command, which is, so this is my alter database command, alter database mydb, modify file, logical name was mydb, and file name, this is the new location, new. And similarly for the LDF file, log file, the new location is this. All right, now if you run this bunch of queries, click on execute, and it says file mydb does not exist. So I have already changed the name of this logical name. I have changed this to mydb_data. So now, and I have already changed this to mydb_logs. So now everything, if the logical names are okay, then it should run correctly. Yeah, so this has been modified in the system catalog. New path will be used the next time the database is started. All right, so now I'll have to take the database online, and you can see it by doing, this is my DB. Just refresh the database, refresh. So this is offline. You can also right click there, click on tasks and bring online. Okay, so it is successful. So it is now online. And then finally, what you can do is we can run this query up there again to show the logical name and the physical name of this after the relocating the files. So now just to verify this, so you run this again finally. So you can see that the logical name is mydb underscore data. Current location has changed. It is updated. The system catalog is already updated with the logical name mydb underscore logs, with the new current location of the log file being this. So in this lecture, we have learned how we use the alter database command in Microsoft SQL to actually rename the database, and also to move the physical files to some other location, and also change the physical names as well as the logical names. Thank you.